So I'm sure everybody knows about this by now, but Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is supposed to be coming out in April of this year. A lot of people are stoked about it because it's the first Fatal Fury game we've had in like forever. Um, and the thing is, Fatal Fury for the most part hasn't been relevant since the 90s prior to this. So to me, this is kind of like a reboot of the series. And I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those games that gets a lot of mainstream attention, but it's definitely something that's attracting a lot of attention within the online gaming community, especially considering the fact that both Ken and Chun-Li are supposed to be appearing as guest characters in this game. But the thing is, that's something that's not going to be immediate because I think they're going to be playable as DLC. And from my understanding, Ken is not going to be available till like summer of this year, and Chun-Li's not going to be available till like winter of 2025. And honestly, I feel like this crossover with Capcom and SNK, or those two companies working together, is actually something that's pretty cool. But at the same time, it makes you wonder: is this being done to help, the sales numbers of the new Fatal Fury game? Because you look at King of Fighters 15, which came out back in 2022. That's a game that still has yet to break 1 mil, at least, to my knowledge, because I haven't heard like SNK bragging about the sales figures for that game or anything like that. And don't get me wrong, it's a pretty like fun game and everything like that. But it seems like King of Fighters haven't, or it hasn't been on the same level of popularity as it once was since like the late 90s, like when King of Fighters 98 came out. And to this day, a lot of people say that's still like the best entry in the entire series. And like you look at King of Fighters and you look at Fatal Fury. King of Fighters in general has always been more popular than Fatal Fury. In fact, the series has been going on since like the mid 90s. We still getting Fatal Fury, not Fatal Fury, we're still getting King of Fighters games to this day, but Fatal Fury for the most part kind of like disappeared um for a long period of time. And I'm not exactly sure whether or not it's going to break a mill. It's quite possible that the nostalgia for the Fatal Fury series is something that's going to cause people to like buy the game, and it's probably going to exceed SNK's initial expectations just based off of them seeing what it's like and whether or not whether or not it's better than King of Fighters 15. But yeah, I look at Fatal Fury City of Wolves and look at the roster. There's some familiar names up there um, that people really like. I'm talking about Mai Shiranui. I'm talking about Joe Higashi. You got the Bogart brothers. You got Mr. Big finally returning. Yeah, it's just like there's definitely some names up there that a lot of people are familiar with, and we also got some new names that's going to be up here. And I don't know. It really depends on you know, whether or not the characters can really, connect with the players and all that stuff as far as like popularity is concerned. Because I feel like one of the keys to having like a strong fighting game or a fighting game that people can really sink their teeth into is having characters that people can really be wowed by. And I think Capcom has done a pretty good job with that in the Street Fighter series over the past several years. And in Fatal Fury City of Wolves, I mean, just from the looks of things, it doesn't look like it's going to be too beginner friendly because they have all these mechanics that forces players to go out of their way and try and develop, opposed to it just being a button mashing game where you can just do moves without putting any thought behind it. But um but yeah, I mean, I feel like Fatal Fury City of Wolves is going to be more for hardcore fighting, gamers opposed to casuals, and that's something that could potentially hurt the game in terms of overall sales. But yeah, this game is supposed to be on the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and PC. It's also going to be on PlayStation 4, which is the last gen console, and it's going to be utilized in the Unreal Engine 4. So, yeah, I do feel that like this game, for the most part, has the potential to sell more than King of Fighters 15. I wouldn't necessarily keep my fingers crossed on that, but then again, I could be wrong because like I said, Fatal Fury has not been like super popular since like the early 90s to my knowledge. And don't get me wrong, we've had like some underrated entries within the series that definitely didn't get enough attention, or it didn't get as much attention as it should have back in the 90s. But I don't know. I feel like Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves is definitely one of those games that has the potential to be better than King of Fighters 15. I don't see it, outselling Street Fighter 6. I don't see it surpassing Street Fighter 6 in terms of popularity. And I'm actually like surprised that Street Fighter 6 has managed to make it to like 4 mil in terms of sales. So it's one of the few games that actually broke over 3 million in terms of sales, because that seems to be like the standard number, or like the maximum number that video games could sell nowadays. You rarely have a video game that can go over 3,000, or sorry, over 3 million. And then like I don't know, like if you get like a 2 million or a 1.5, that's actually considered to be decent in this day and age. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how well this game does following its release. And for those who are huge Street Fighter fans who plan on purchasing Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, you're gonna have to wait a little while to play as Ken and Chun-Li. And unfortunately, that's something that's just the reality of how things go. But yeah, I do feel like we might possibly get more Street Fighter characters as DLC in the new Fatal Fury game. It's something that Capcom hasn't confirmed, but I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping that's the case, and hopefully this eventually leads to like a full game crossover between SNK and Capcom. Hopefully, we get SNK versus Capcom, or Capcom versus SNK 3 sometime in the future.